This film study video about Alontae Taylor is part of a larger point that I'm trying to make. Still trying to formulate, to be honest with you. I don't think it's something that I have completely set in stone the way I'd like to enumerate it or describe it, but basically about the preponderance of corners who come into the league ready to play as rookies, and I think Alontae Taylor is just another example. He's a physical, very athletic guy who played a lot of snaps in 2022 after not playing initially at the beginning of the season. Generally played on the right side of the Saints defense, matched up against some real talented receivers. I'm going to let some film run here in a moment so you can see who some of those guys were: Deshaun Jackson, Devontae Adams, Scotty Miller, among others, Drake London. He's got a real knack for covering in-breaking routes over the middle. He's got a closing speed on those type of routes, particularly in man. Seems quite versatile with his coverages. He only played 19 snaps on defense through week 6. And then suddenly played like about 100% of the defensive snaps up through week 17. Didn't play, I don't think, any defense in week 17, and then in week 18 played, I think, 100% of the snaps. I just love his competitiveness. We're going to get the film running here. There'll be some annotations and some spot shadows on the film. You guys, if you haven't considered subscribing to the channel and you get to where you feel like you enjoyed this video, you might like me to cover some other players, rookie players, whatever, from around the NFL, just let me know in the comment section. Please consider subscribing to help support the channel. All right, let's get the film running. He's a guy who, like I said, didn't play a whole lot early in the season. I like his ability to compete as the play gets extended. I felt like there was some rough spots where he'll lose connection with receivers during the play as the quarterback extends the play, but this was a damn near iconic play. It still is an iconic play by Lamar Jackson, if you ask me, but even more so by Alontae Taylor. The timing that he showed to tip this ball away from Deshaun Jackson. He's a competitor. He's physical with receivers. He tackles well, comes downhill. You'll see some examples of that. I think I've got 12 or 13 plays queued up to show his ability. I think as a second-round pick from 2022, it's an example of just how many talented rookie cornerbacks there are coming into the league who are prepared by their college scheme, their college coordinators, their technique guys, to play immediately. And I like the way that corners are coming into the NFL generally, whether they're drafted in the first, second, third, fourth round. You had so many guys come in last year who were prepared for, not just man and press man or cover 3 and cover 2, the basic zone, prototypical zone coverages, but guys that are ready to play, quarter, half, or what a lot of people call cover 6. Here he is against Devontae Adams up along the sideline. I feel like a lot of the film of Alontae Taylor showed a guy who had awareness of the sideline and where the route was in relation to that. But split field coverages, just to talk about it for a second, as he's playing man on Scotty Miller on the vertical here up top, ball's underthrown by Tom Brady, not intentionally so. Like the previous one, I think Devontae Adams was intentionally underthrown. This one's just actually underthrown, but great job looking back and getting his hands, out to defend the football. He's a versatile dude. There's a lot of, mostly I think the film that you're going to see here I'm showing you tonight is man coverages, but a lot more versatile than this. I think I had about 45 or 50 plays saved up, chose only to use 12. He didn't get publicity like other rookies for obvious reasons. Tariq Woolen, Ahmad Gardner, or even Derek Stingley, Kyer Elam, or Jack Jones. He didn't deserve it because he didn't have a single interception that counted anyway. You'll see an interception here in a moment that was called back for being out of bounds. Played 13 games, didn't record a pick. Great coverage skills, had 11 passes defensed. I think he only had 15 or 16 passes defensed in 4 years at Tennessee in college, and then had 11 last year. In my opinion, there's a lot of good coverage snaps on film, and his ability to, as an outside corner, use the sideline as another help defender, I think it just shows you how smart he is for being such a young guy, even though, like I said, he did play 4 years at Tennessee. It's not like he came out early. Some of the most interesting, I think, film is on vertical routes where he has to flip his hips and stay connected to the receiver. You'll see he loses connection a little bit with Demarcus Robinson here. Not targeted on this play, but better hips in terms of being able to turn and go with the receiver than I thought I heard some people say prior to the draft last year. And that's one of the things that, for me, I'm using as a barometer for how many corners there are coming in this year that are going to be able to help immediately. I think Alontae Taylor, drafted, 49 overall, is an example of just how many guys are prepared by their college scheme and their college system to come in and contribute immediately as a starting corner. Thought he played well in the Ravens game that I covered because I'm a Ravens fan, generally creating Ravens content. And thereafter, I try to save 6 or 8 plays of his for each week. This film study is a little bit late because I think most people are probably on to draft content, obviously, by now. There's a linebacker in the window here who's preventing this ball from being thrown earlier. You'll get the end zone angle, so you'll see what I mean. So as the quarterback is, booting out, this linebacker is in the window of Drake London's route. So it's, the ball could clearly be delivered a little bit earlier. But in any case, the point is, I think, baits quarterbacks to throw these balls. And you'll see a little example of it when we get to the end zone angle. Great play on the first play that I showed you to Deshaun Jackson, the ball that Lamar Jackson, picked up a fumble and then threw it as you see him run across the screen. There's a linebacker 55 in the window, but he's slowing down intentionally. He's waiting for the ball to be thrown. This, to me, is a guy who is incredibly smart for the amount of experience that he has at the NFL level, and I think is very underrated. His pass breakup ability, his timing on these routes, I think, just shows his comfort level in man, zone. I did see some routes as we're going to transition to a couple of run plays here, I think. I did see some routes where the quarterback extended the play and he would kind of lose connection with the receiver a little bit, but those were few and far between, and that's a little bit of a false criticism. It's a little bit unfair. This is another in-breaking route actually by the tight end, I think Foster Moreau, coming across the screen. Very similar to the one you just saw against Drake London. Kind of undercuts it, gets a hand on it. He's a gifted guy. I think went under the radar prior to the draft last year, if I remember correct. And we even went under the radar after a very solid rookie season. I think there's more guys like this coming out every year, ready to play, ready to put themselves in position to make big plays, even though he didn't, get an official interception. The one that I showed you was called back for him being out of bounds. I think his second step was out of bounds. Guys who are coming in, ready to play against the pass, ready to play against the run. And Alontae Taylor, like 6 foot, I think like 6 foot, 195, somewhere right in that area. Comes downhill against the run on this play against the Raiders. Just a balanced corner, if you ask me. And, Saints fans, if you watch the video and you watch this long, let me know what your perception is of him. Playing cover 2 technique here. You're going to get this corner route by Mike Evans, the outside receiver, and then Fournette, the running back, is going to chip and release into the flats. And Alontae Taylor just, he knows how to play every technique. Lets the route release inside, comes up, hits Fournette for a tackle for loss. You let me know if you're a Saints fan or not, if you're as impressed by his film as I am. Again, I saved up 45, 50, 55 plays. One of the things that I noticed about him when I did watch film prior to the Ravens game last year was this scheme where people basically are, they're trying to seal edge players, defensive ends, crack an inside linebacker, pull a lineman out. So essentially at the beginning, they're leaving a corner unblocked, even if he is at the line of scrimmage like Alontae Taylor is here. That doesn't work against him. I saw 3 examples of this where he unblocked, which is what a lot of teams, college, high school, NFL do. Leave the corner unblocked, go get the safety, try to deal with the inside linebacker and the safety, force the corner to tackle your running back. Alontae Taylor is totally capable of doing that. Really big fan of his. There's a lot of great film of him out there, more than just, what I showed you tonight. Guys, let me know if you're as impressed by him. I have super high expectations for him in his second year. I don't do things like say, he's an all-pro player. He's a Pro Bowl player. If he keeps putting out film like this, if he keeps stacking plays on top of each other, like the 12 or 13 that I've shown you here, I think the sky's the limit. I think the guy can be a long-time contributor, playing next to other really smart players in the secondary for the Saints in that system. Super impressed with him. I think more and more we're getting corners come out like Alontae Taylor who are balanced, who can play multiple coverages, who can tackle, play against the run, come downhill. I think the overwhelming amount of 7-on-7 quarterback coaching, receiver coaching, even defensive back coaching that's starting at a younger age, as opposed to even 10, 15 years ago, is making these players better when they're 23. When they're 23, they're playing like a 27-year-old used to, a third-year player used to, because of the way they've been trained for a longer period of time, even before college and high school, and then the way that the schemes, the techniques they were asked to execute in college at a high level, and the process they went through of making mistakes and then correcting those mistakes, putting that on film prior to the draft. I think Alontae Taylor is a superstar player, maybe not a superstar corner, but in the system that the Saints have. A big fan of his. You guys let me know if you're as big a fan of the film as I am. And if you'd like for me to do some other film studies like this, quick film studies of players across the NFL, let me know in the comments section who you'd like for me to cover. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoy the video, please consider sharing a link out on social media to help this video get more reach.